Timing's off. Well, it might not be off, but it sounds like it might be off.
Welcome back to the channel, the place where we're making your Bronco, your dream Bronco. Hey, if you haven't yet, I'd love for you to subscribe, comment, like, and follow along as I am building a 1974 Ford Bronco. I paid $2,000 for this Bronco, and my plan is to restore it, keeping track of every dollar and every hour spent to hopefully in the end turn a profit. So far on the Bronco, I've stripped it down, powder coated the frame and the axles, built the suspension and the brakes, and in the last episode, I dropped the engine and transmission into place, ran the fuel lines, and put the body back on, hopefully for the last time. Now in this episode, we're gonna Raptor line the inside of the Bronco and just do a bunch of stuff. This is kind of the point where it's like you're just doing a bunch of random stuff, and so it doesn't really have a flow to it. It's just gonna be kind of crazy and all over the place. So the instructions for the vintage air kit have you drill these 4 holes for all the hoses that go through, and then that basically just sits right up here. But looking at it, I'm gonna try to keep this just a little bit cleaner right here on the inner fender. I'm actually gonna drill the holes right here, so all the hoses will come out. They'll come along the fender and then back in through the old airbox holes. So I'm gonna do that a little bit different than what the instructions say, but that's just gonna be a little mod that I do for the AC kit. All right, so I got the radiator in, but I forgot the compressor for the AC. So I'm gonna take the radiator out, get the compressor in there, and then get the radiator back in, and hopefully it still fits. So we've got the condenser in place, and looking at where the dryer needs to sit right in here, it needs to go in there somewhere about like that. But it's hard to see down at the bottom, but the dryer doesn't fully go down far enough. You can see where, you know, we're scratching it, just trying to get it to fit right in there. I think what we're gonna do is we're just gonna trim this part of the inner fender. All right, so got it all in. Radiator and compressor fits in there. The compressor comes with this bracket that goes along here, and then you drill a couple holes in the bottom. It is a very tight fit, but we still got, you know, enough room in there. You could fit a credit card in there. Oh yeah, plenty of room, plenty of room. Now what we're gonna be working on is Raptor lining the inside of the Bronco. So Kevin and I just got the whole thing masked. And earlier I actually did some seam sealer on the, just on the seams, which there's actually a lot of seams on the Bronco. That's not something that I see a ton of people do when they're doing, you know, using these bodies, but it really does help, you know, just for the longevity of the metal and keeping moisture out of there and that kind of thing. And since we're gonna throw Raptor liner on this, you know, it's not super important to see the seams. Now, with that said, if you're ever buying a Bronco and it's Raptor lined and claims that it's been restored, please do me a favor and just double check everywhere, because Raptor liner can hide a lot of rust. Now, this is a brand new body, you know, the all new metal, so I'm definitely not hiding anything, but it really does help with the sound. It helps with the heat coming from the engine. And it's a nice upgrade to Raptor line the inside and the underside of the Bronco. But again, if you're buying a Bronco that has been Raptor lined, even if it says it's been restored, really check those floor pans, because they could be hiding something awful. So this is what we're gonna be using, is the U-Pull Raptor liner. This is great stuff. I really like the look of this. It's almost it's a smaller texture. I did it on the bottom of the Bronco too. And then we're gonna be tinting it with our boxwood green. And this is the boxwood green that I actually wanted the bottom to look like, but it ended up looking a little more army green. So this is the color that we're gonna go with the body as well. So I'm putting in the Vintage Air AC kit, and first you definitely want to put this little plate in, because I wanted my screws to go in through the firewall fender area on this side and not be sticking out over here. So drilled those screws in, but had to take this out. I keep having to take this out. So my note to anyone doing this: make sure to put this in probably last, because right now I'm dealing with gotta run the heater hose in there, but where it goes, the two pipes are in the back, so I gotta take it out again to get that in there as well. Now, one of the other things that I am dealing with is this AC compressor line. You know, because I'm running it out through the fender right there, there's not enough length to make it all the way to right here. So what I'm gonna do, this is just because I didn't run it through the airbox up here, I'm actually running it over and across the fender. And I'm also clocking the compressor to the side, which has everything just kind of clocked a little bit different. So what I'm gonna have to do is extend this line. So I'm actually gonna take it over to a place that will give me a longer line with the same fittings. But again, that's just because of how I'm running this. But to get it the way that I want it to look, just got to do a couple extra things to make it all fit together. So gonna keep running this up. Got the heater control valve right here. Going to wire that in. I like this because it's all in the fender, out of the engine bay. And then started pulling the wiring harness out. Gonna start getting all of that dealt with and in place. Got the steering column in place and just kind of getting it all mocked up time and time again. I already mocked up the steering column once, so just kind of throwing it back in there to get now the wiring for the steering column all plumbed up and working. You know, just all the things, all the things that are going into this. Right now it's just a lot of electrical stuff, plumbing under the hood, but now we are more able to do this stuff because we got the Raptor liner on the inside. So we've been grinding on this thing for almost 10 weeks straight. And I know some of you guys are like, oh man, it must be nice just to be able to take 10 weeks and just work on your Bronco. No, I'm self-employed. I own my own video production company and haven't had work for 10 weeks. So it's not a good thing, but I've taken a not so good thing and made it a good thing just by playing on the Bronco. But hey, if you know anyone who needs some video work, I'm your guy. Now, if you know me, I do love the painless wiring harness. I think their instructions are amazing. And for a stock Bronco, if you're looking for a new wiring harness, painless is definitely the way to go if you're replacing the harness in your Bronco. But if you're doing a build like this, that is the wires I have already removed, and I am not even close to being done. I've done this part. I still have all that to go. Yes, I do love painless, but not right now. I have a lot of wiring to go. So I'm gonna skip over a lot of this because it's just boring. But yeah, there's a lot to wire. I do have a whole painless wiring install video. If you haven't watched that, you can check it out. But I'm not gonna focus on a lot of this. It's just gonna be a couple more, beauty shots of me wiring up the Bronco, and then I'll finish it in like 4 days. Kevin just brought the dash by and it looks incredible. Got the Wimbledon white on there. Obviously we kind of skipped over showing this process, but when we paint the body, I'll actually be there with Kevin and we'll lay it all out, look at it, and do that together. But yeah, real happy with how this turned out. Now what I can do is I can actually put stuff in the dash and kind of get it all, in place, wire up the dash, because I'm just in wiring hell right now. So gonna keep working on the wiring and start doing that. So I'm working here on the light switch, and I didn't notice this before, but the little nipple on the bezel, it actually kind of turns the words sideways instead of straight up and down. This isn't just a disruptive Resto Mods thing. Here's the original light bezel, and you can see kind of does the same thing and turns the words sideways. So what I'm gonna do, I'm going to mark my little hole here. Gonna drill a new hole for it in my clean and shiny dash, unfortunately. Should have caught that earlier, but I didn't. All right, so got the dash in place, and man, it is really looking good. Really happy. So with where the bezels are and all that, this one is a little high on the dash knobs there. So I'm gonna drop that down a little bit, and it's sitting just a little bit too high for my liking, but got room to move it down. And then got the Classic Instruments gauge cluster in there. These disruptive Resto Mod knobs are really nice, and I really like how the bezels look on there. Man, it's coming together nicely. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wire all of the switches up, dash knobs up, make some spots here so I gotta put my painless wiring harness fuse block in there. Got to put the Quick 4 transmission shifter in there. And yeah, so still got some work to do, but just wanted to put it in, see how it looks, and it is looking real nice. All right, so I'm working on the air ducts for the AC, and man, there's just not a whole lot of room back here. And the tricky part is you got to get the ducts around here like this, and then they got to come around. So this guy and this vent all the way over here, I am tucking him underneath the glove box and coming over, and instead of trying to get him to loop around, because then it'll basically be like hanging under the dash, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut into this vent, this duct, and kind of have these working together. That might give me a little less airflow for the passenger, but hey, you know, passenger, you're lucky that we got AC. And then this one will obviously go right up there. That one's probably the easiest to route, you know, it can just go straight in there. But the other thing that is interesting is this piece goes up here, and it basically will sit right about here on these ducts. So when you're looking at this, man, that's a like hard turn to come around onto this side. There's just no room to do it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna block off this duct and just use this one. And I'm gonna kind of come across and cut into this one so it'll feed both of them, but it'll just be one duct that is gonna do that, and then one place where this is coming out. All right, so dash is in. Most everything is wired. We're hoping that it's all wired correctly. But the important thing is that we've got our ignition so that we can fire this bad boy up. Got a couple more things. Forgot, still have to run the battery cable to the starter, and couple other little wiring things in here. Then we will fill her with oil, fire it up.
Leaks, leaks, leaks.
All right, ECU is connected.
Well, that's good, Dave.
Yep. Cubic inch diameter. 3
Oh, it's gonna be so exciting, John! It's gonna go. All right, let's see what happens, John. I hear things. Oh, nothing, huh?
Nothing.
Oh, hold on.
My starter after, probably? Oh.
Try that. That's not your part of it. Timing's off. Well, it might not be off, but it sounds like it might be off. Try again. There's 100.
god!
Gotta say no, man. Gotta stick the engine apart.
I was not expecting it to just fire up, and it did. And so, yes, I am thrilled. We have a hole in the oil pan somehow, so got to figure that out, and have no idea how that happened, but probably this guy. But man, that was amazing. Just ran it for a second, make sure that everything works and that it fires up, and it did. So I'm thrilled beyond belief. Now it's time to, figure out all the other issues that are going on with it, like the hole in the oil pan. So yeah, but there we go. It runs. At the start of day 58, I had spent $53,150. Luckily, in this episode, I only had to buy a few things. I spent $140 on wire connectors, electrical tape, battery cables, and just other electrical things that I needed while I was wiring the Bronco. I spent $230 on heater hoses and getting my AC compressor line lengthened to run through the fender. I spent $175 on seam sealer and Raptor liner, and $1,120 on the steering column and brackets, for a total of $1,665, bringing my total to this point to $54,815. When I started this episode on day 58, I had spent 296 hours on the build. This time I spent 111 hours over 14 days. 63 of those hours were just me working on the wiring, bringing the total to 407 hours over 72 days. Thank you guys so much for watching, and make sure to check out some of the previous build videos. I actually went back and started from the beginning and watched them all the way through, and it was actually a lot of fun. So go back, watch some of the old videos, relive the moments of me building this Bronco, because I'm celebrating tonight because I started it up.